Collin Gillespie has been having an amazing season so far, one that's caught many people by surprise, one that's been kind of reassuring of the Suns betting on him. But just how great has that season been, and how will it be recognized when it comes to award races at the end of the season? Stephen Prejean Gardner here with Gil McGregor. We are here to speak directly to that. So, Gil, what have been your thoughts about Mr. Gillespie so far this season?
I mean, this is opportunity and him stepping up and being ready for his opportunity, right? Like thinking about the season that he's having personally and how much he's improved year over year. I had some numbers thinking about like in year 1 and year 2 combined, he played 57 games, had 9 double-digit scoring games. This season through 22 games, he has 16 double-digit scoring games. So talking about stepping up into the role and doing everything that's asked of him, the team betting on him, and then him making them look pretty good immediately 1 quarter way through the season. I think he should be getting more national recognition. But if he keeps playing like this, they'll soon wake up.
Wake him up. Wake him up. It's something I think that's been an adage for the team as a whole.
Yeah.
And I think naturally when you talk about Colin in particular, he's one of those kind of crown jewel pieces that's bridged that gap from everything that was the Big Three era and with other coaches.
Yeah.
And been something that's kind of been a major positive in this kind of turn in culture and identity that they've been looking to establish. And I think look no further than his numbers so far this season, averaging 13.4 points per game. In terms of modern splits, 2-point range, 3-point range, and free throws, 45.5, 44.2, 83.3, also averaging 5 assists. And also finding ways to chip in on the glass, 3.8 rebounds per game. Elite at his position for offensive rebound percentage. And then lastly, steals, 1.2 per game. Ton of the multiple effort things, a lot of the skill things, he really kind of checks that box off. I think what maybe stands out most to me, though, is how he wears the qualities of confidence this season.
Yeah.
It feels like it comes from just the opportunity, meeting preparation dynamic of it as far as his development goes. But I think it's also the empowerment, not just by people giving him that runway, but him kind of snatching the chain of that runway. And I think the game winners we saw him knock down in training camp and kind of helping to set that Villain Jr. vibe that he's been operating off of has been big. What's kind of stood out to you in terms of just looking at him as an individual piece, the stark difference between what was the seasons prior and this season alone so far?
I think what you talked about in opportunity, meeting, preparation, he's a winner, right? That's the thing we talk about. Won in college. He won with the Nuggets, and winners win. They find ways to win, and I think that that's where that supreme confidence comes from. We talk about it a lot. Coaches put confidence in you, but you also return that favor by showing them that they should be confident in you. And the same happens with your teammates. So him stepping up in roles, no role is too big, whether it's starting, whether it's being the sixth man, whether it's stepping up and being facilitator, whether it's being a scorer. We've seen him do it all. And I think that, no role has been too big, which now I think we need to start redefining and restructuring what we look at as his ceiling, because I don't necessarily think anybody envisioned him doing this as consistently as he's done it so far this season, which again comes back to those conversations about awards. I know, we talked about sixth man. Is it that? Is it most improved? The numbers would suggest it's most improved, but at the same time, the national attention and the odds suggest otherwise. So that's where I'm kind of stuck on. I don't know if it's a Suns thing. I don't know if it's just the fact that the team is 13-9. They would rather the team be 17-5. I don't know what it is, but I don't know what you make of it as well. But why is he not getting that love just yet?
Yeah, it feels like, and I guess we can kind of dive into this part of the conversation now. It feels like more so, and it's very unfortunate, it should not be this way, but name recognition or the status of your team in the paradigm of the league. So for the purposes of this conversation, we can go ahead and look specifically at the most improved conversation. So just a couple of names that are in that conversation. You have Jalen Duren. The Detroit Pistons are absolutely surging at the top of the Eastern Conference and have been there in a kind of sustained manner this season. Denny Avdia is a name that got a lot more attention for his kind of burst onto the scene last year, especially after the turn of the calendar into the new year with the Portland Trail Blazers and how good that team was in the kind of post-All-Star break stretch. Josh Giddey, obviously a name that got a lot of attention for his skill set with Oklahoma City. And actually, he gets an extended runway with the Bulls after the trade into last season. And he did what he did with that, especially, again, post-All-Star break for him as well. And then one other name, or two other names I'll throw in there that are in the top 6. Jalen Johnson.
I see that.
Atlanta Hawks at the top of the Eastern Conference as well. And he's been their spearheader with Trae Young being out. Last name, Austin Reeves. So
Lakers, that's a Lakers bonus.
You see it with each and every one of these names. Is either a name that's been maintained in this conversation for a few seasons, or a person that's on a team that's at the top of a conference, or one of the kind of founding father teams of the league, like the Lakers, and them again having a name just kind of thrown into that mix with Austin Reeves. So I guess what comes to your mind first with that, and I guess we can kind of piece together why we can't see Colin necessarily punching into that weight class because of it.
You know what comes to my mind, actually, and you haven't known me that long, but you know that I'm pretty mellow, and it takes a lot to make me upset. But most improved player makes me 100%. Upset, and it's the spirit of the award that makes me most upset. And I was looking at it. You know, 5 of the last 6 most improved players were top 10 picks.
Yeah. So it's like there's an expectation that comes with that.
It's like you're doing, but ultimately for me, it's like, oh, you just became who you were expected to become. Like, I feel like that's what that is. Exactly. I think that the spirit of most improved player should be a guy who, oh, this guy was undrafted. He was kind of floating around. We didn't know if he was going to be in the league. Mm-hmm. Oh, wait, he just jumped into being a specifically like guy who this team can rely on in their rotation night in and night out what Colin Gillespie has become. I think that's the spirit of the award. Mm-hmm. Austin Reeves is an undrafted guy, but like he's established at this point. That's the Lakers thing. You know, Jalen Duren, I think, is a guy who came in the league at 18 years old. Like he's just growing up and maturing and becoming the player who we all expected him to be when he was drafted. So I understand, obviously, you look at team success, you look at their record, you look at, 18-4 or 17-5, whatever it is, which I kind of said about the Suns record. Mm-hmm. But I really do think if Colin Gillespie can continue to sustain this, I think he represents exactly what the spirit of the most improved award should be. Yeah. I like Dyson Daniels getting it last year, new situation, whatever. But at the same time, I think a guy like that should be like the poster child for most improved player.
I could not agree more. There's few things that get me more heated than how the award has been voted upon, because it feels like the essence of it is not what it once was.
It's like when Ja won it, that was kind
of
when
it was over. And that's what I was about to say. You got guys like Ja Morant winning it, guys like Julius Randle winning it. It's like, all right, like, yes, they improved, but is there an element of surprise to this?
Right.
And the answer has been resoundingly no, to your point, over the last 6 or however many in recent memory. Like, these guys haven't really been surprising. To the Colin point, though, you look at these names, and it's like, okay, so if he's not going to get that type of recognition, which I feel like the essence of the award is to say, hey, we had expectations that did not align with how well you played. You were well above water in terms of that. If you're giving it to guys that are making more marginal gains than things like that, how are you able to promote the kind of lesser known talents of the league? Because everybody knows who Jalen Duren is. He's a starting center for a team. He's been a starting center since he came into the league. Denny Avdia is who he is, especially internationally. That's not a surprising name at all, and he showed a certain level of play last season. Josh Giddey, similar to Denny, has had a reputation about his game that does not surprise anybody, that he's putting up these numbers for a franchise that doesn't have an MVP candidate and a bunch of other top-tier guys on the roster now. Jalen Johnson, similarly, you give him a runway, especially with the trades that they've made and the way things have shifted. It's not really surprising. His name probably makes the most sense out of any of these other names that we've talked about in the top 6, outside of Ryan Rollins, who is a guy that I feel like is cut from the same cloth as Colin, as far as being true to the essence of what I think we both kind of feel the award should be recognizing. But past that part, bringing it back to Colin and not looking at the league, because that is what it's going to be. I think with the Suns and why they've been so good, if you look at some of the things they've wanted to do very well, there's one common denominator with all of these things. So look at them wanting to get up 3-point shots. Colin Gillespie is taking a ton of those. He's making a ton of those at a high clip. You talk about them wanting to be a team that's putting pressure on opponents with their prowess for offensive rebounds. Colin Gillespie is in the top percentile of guards being able to go and get after it on the offensive glass. Steals, after activity with deflections, exactly that. Pressure on opponents as far as like extended pickup points. He's someone that's, I think, top 7 or 6 last time I checked in terms of how frequently he's picking up guys on the other side of half court. There's no reason why I don't feel like he should be firmly entrenched in these conversations. And as we kind of round out the conversation, do you think he ultimately ends up there as like a late ad, maybe after the trade deadline, and he sustains this level of play?
Yeah, I think the two things that will caused that to happen is winning. Keep winning, stay in the top 6, 5, 4 in the Western Conference, and sustain this level of play. Because when there's a bigger eye or there's more closer attention on this team, they'll be like, why is this team so good that we wrote off before the season? Oh, wait, they had this undrafted guy who's in his 3rd season who's having the best year of his career that nobody expected him to have. And he's, more than doubled his scoring average. He's doubled his assists. He's doing everything his team's asked of him, and they won't be successful without him. I think that he starts entering these conversations just as the Suns continue to stay in the national spotlight. So the key, as is with everything, winning cures everything, and we'll see how that happens.
Yeah, for sure. I think the Suns sustaining that what's now an expected 52-win pace, that would be something that would certainly get him a certain type of attention from national media members. Like, hey, I might want to pay attention to this team, and that guy's going to naturally be involved with it heavily. So we'll have a lot of that covered on our 3 p.m. shows as well as our pre- and post-game shows throughout the rest of the season, documenting everything that is Collin Gillespie's 2nd season with the Phoenix Suns. But without further ado, Stephen Prejean Gardner here. Gil McGregor here as well. Make sure you continue to welcome him. Make sure you show him some love on socials as well. We'll be talking to you all soon. And until then, Collin Gillespie for Most Improved Player of the Year.